Okay, it's time for piano. All right. Hey everybody, welcome to piano. It is Saturday. I'm very excited because we are going to be learning a really amazing song today, as well as something crazy important, okay? But before we get started on our music, let's go over a few housekeeping items. If you could like and share this video, I would really appreciate it. You know that I need those likes and shares so that more people know that I'm offering these lessons. The second thing is if you could subscribe on YouTube, right? YouTube's great because it gives you a chance to be able to rewatch my lesson videos, especially if like something comes up and you have to back out of the live video. This helps you and you can rewatch and rewind all the sections that you need to work on the most, okay? So find Izzy Chia on YouTube. The next thing is join my private Facebook group. It's called Encore Music Makers, and that's where you get to have that one-on-one interaction with me, as well as being in a really supportive piano learning community as well. Everybody in there's working super hard on their songs, and we're all there to help you, okay? So search Encore Music Makers on Facebook. And then last is Patreon. So Patreon's really important, right? Because this is how I'm able to sustain myself. So if you find that these lessons are great and you're enjoying them, join Patreon, right? So you can choose a tier between $3 a month all the way up to $90 a month, depending on what works for your family and your budget, to help sustain these and have them keep coming week after week, right? We have a lot of things that are planned for the new year that are just going to be mind-blowing, and I can't wait to tell you all about them. So pick a tier on Patreon and help support me. All right, well, let's get to the music, right? It's about time. So pull out your books, everybody. There it is, Adult All-in-One. Go ahead and turn to page 96, okay? Page 96. And on page 96 was the song I assigned you last week, okay? This one is called Rocket Away, all right? So Rocket Away is a great song because it was the first song that was introducing flats to us, right? And flats were something super cool because it kind of looked like that melting letter B, right? And remember, you're bringing your tone down by something called a half step, right? So that'll be the next key to the left, whether black or white, right? So we explained that last week. But now we had a chance to apply it in our song called Rocket Away. So let's get ourselves into position and let's play through this song for a check, all right? Here we go. Okay, wonderful. So this one here, we're finding ourselves in that G position, right? Yeah, so we've got our pinky left hand on that G right below middle C, and then our right hand is right there on the G right above middle C, okay? Now you notice that the first measure begins with our left hand playing a 1 chord or a block chord, and then our right hand finger 1 starting on the G, okay? It says moderately fast, so we're going to do our best to keep up that tempo, okay? And remember, the left hand has tied notes, okay? So don't play them extra. So let's go. I'm going to count off. 1, 2, ready, play. Sounded pretty cool, huh? It's like rock and roll almost, right? It's pretty fun. All right, so if you got through all of Rocket Away, very good. Bravo to you. All right. If you happen to not get through it all, That's okay too. You know this, right? So it is okay if it takes you a little bit longer than a week to get a song, right? That's the beauty of having a YouTube channel and having the chance for you to re-watch your songs, okay? All right. But I think you did great. So let's see if we can get one new song for this week. But before we do that, I have a very important lesson to teach you, okay? So turn the page to 98, okay? 98, you have a page that says measuring half steps and whole steps. It looks like this. All right? So this is an important page, right? Because it's basically going to be teaching us how exactly we are measuring things in music, measuring distance in particular, okay? Now, when we talk about something called a half step, we are measuring the distance between a note and the very next note next to it with no skips, right? So when you look at the diagram at the top, it says a half step is the distance from any key to the very next key above or below, black or white, okay? In the diagram, it has C, D, E, F written, right? And then right above it, it says C sharp or D flat. Yes. So that distance, that one move that we make from C up to the black key C sharp, that is called a half step, okay? It can also be known as a half step, remember, if you're traveling down. So let's start at D. When you look at D and you travel one step down to the black key that's nearest on the left, they call it a D flat because you're going down, right? You're bringing it down like a flat, right? So those distances, those little half steps, are very, very important, okay? Those are known as half steps, all right? Now, I'm going to switch to piano view so we can talk about this more in depth. Half steps, okay? Let's switch. Okay, so looking here, remember the diagram at 98. They're talking about C moving up a half step to C sharp, okay? Here, up to here is the distance of a half step, okay? Now, if we start at the C sharp and we go up one note, that would be C sharp to D. That is also a half step, okay? Now, we can also go up again, right? D to another half step up would be a D sharp. You see how we did that? And then you can even go D sharp to E is another half step, okay? Are you understanding this? Half, 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 half. Now something really interesting happens here, okay? If we're going to go up a half step from E, where do we go? Do we go here or do we go here? If you said the second one, you would be correct. E to F is a half step. I know this because there is no black key in between, right? We're only going one step over. So that's a half step. Okay? Now, let me switch back to this view, okay? Half steps are very important, okay? Now, if you know math, very basic fractions, half step plus a half step would equal what? A whole step, right? Whole step, right? So if you put two half steps together, that would be called a whole step. And that's the second section here in our diagram, right? So whole steps, you're going to have that two half steps together, or you're going to move one key in between, okay? So let me see if I can explain whole steps a little bit more easily in this section in piano view, okay? So let's try that. Okay, so whole steps. If we're starting on our C again, our whole step would be moving all the way up to the D. That's a whole step because there's a C sharp or a D flat in between, right? Now, if we're starting on the D, our whole step from D going up would be E. Listen. Yes. Now, if we were going up another whole step from E, where would we go? Well, we know we wouldn't go here because this was a half step. Remember we determined that earlier? So E to F would not be a whole step. If we're going to go a whole step, we need to do one extra half step. We're going to go to F sharp. There's a whole step. But now look where we are. Oh my gosh. How do we do a whole step from this black key? Well, we use our math again, right? So there's a half and then a whole. Very nice. That right there is a G sharp. And last we have our G sharp. Up a whole step would be to another A sharp. Check it out. Excellent job. Sounds kind of cool. Ooh. Kind of spacey, huh? Yes. Okay. So that's super, super cool. Half steps and whole steps. They're both very, very important when we are learning things in music, okay? Now, there's something called a tetrachord that I need to teach you. Now, if you know the prefix tetra, tetra means 4, right? So you can probably guess that a tetrachord consists of 4 notes, okay? But it goes one step further, okay? In order to have a true tetrachord in music, it follows a pattern, okay? That pattern goes like this. Whole step, half step. Yeah, like whole, half. Whole, half, right? So let's think about this for a second. We're going to start on a note, okay? I'll switch to piano view so you can follow along. All right, so again, let's start on our C because we're really familiar with it, okay? So there's our C. If we're going to start with a whole step, that takes us to a D, right? And then they said to do another whole step to E. And then we have a half step. There you go. Yeah. Now see if that sounds familiar. Doesn't that sound nice? Yes. So tetrachords are really important and they're very familiar, right? Whole, half, right? Whole, half. It's that pattern, right? Whole, half, whole, half. It's kind of interesting, huh? It's going to take a little bit of extra theory work for you, okay? So make sure to write down and circle page 99 so you could do that theory homework, okay? Now, it's going to be really interesting because we're going to be combining 2 tetrachords together, okay? And that is the basis of a major scale in music, okay? It's basically like this. Think of it like this. Tetrachord, tetrachord, right? You have 8 notes, right? 4 and 4. But then what do we use to connect it? We're going to use a whole step in between, okay? So whole, half, whole, half. Sounds funny. I like to envision something like, because I'm always hungry, I always like to envision like a grilled cheese sandwich, okay? One slice of bread is a tetrachord, right? Think of the 4 sides of the bread, right? And then you've got your other slice of bread, 4 notes. But in order for it to stick, we got to put some cheese in there. So the cheese is like a whole step, okay? I like envisioning this because it makes it a little bit easier for me, okay? So as we're practicing our scale, you will understand how to visualize that when we put it all together, okay? So turn to page 100. Can you believe it, 100 pages? Turn to page 100 in your book, okay? It says right there what I just said. The major scale. It's made up of 2 tetrachords joined by a whole step, right? Grilled cheese. So let's practice that and see if we can do it in C, because that's the note that we are most comfortable in, okay? Let's try it. All right, switching to piano view. At the very top there, I notice that we've got a middle C, okay? I'm going to start with my left hand pinky on that middle C. And you notice I have my first 4 notes there, 5, 4, 3, 2 on C, D, E, F. Now, if I'm going to figure out where my right hand goes for this scale, I need to make sure that there's a whole step or a slice of cheese in between. Okay, so a whole step from this F would be a G. And then I will fan out the rest of my fingers. Notice I have left my thumbs out. I'm not really using them to play these beginner scales, okay? So I have it 5, 4, 3, 2, then 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty good, huh? Doesn't that sound cool? It's just like a regular major scale. See if you can do it. Very good. Yes. Now, in order for us to really understand how scales are going to be when we're just doing them with one hand, we have to figure out the fingers, right? Now that we know the notes for the C major scale, let's see if we can figure out how they go, all right? So looking at the very bottom of page 100, it says the C major scale, and there's a treble staff. I want you to put your right hand thumb, finger 1, on middle C. I'm going to switch to piano view so we can learn this scale together. All right, so starting here. The first 3 notes are the fingers that are already there. 1, 2, 3, but then look, it says pass your finger 1 under and put your thumb on F. And then keep going. Did you see how we did that? Let's try it again. I'll do it more slowly so you can watch. 1, 2, 3, under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's go down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now cross your 3 over. 3, 2, 1. Very good. Did you know we could do that with the left hand too? Yeah, you thought you were going to get out of that, huh? Just kidding. Let's try our left hand this time, okay? Put that left hand finger 1 thumb on your middle C, okay? All right. There's my middle C and there's my left hand thumb, okay? This one's going to do something very similar, but we're going to start descending instead of ascending for this first time through, okay? So it starts with a 1. 1, 2, 3. Now pass your 1 underneath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you go up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cross your 3 over. 3, 2, 1. See if you can do it a little bit faster. Let's give that a try. 1, 2, 3, under 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cross over. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Yeah. Woohoo! Very good. You just like played your first major scale, right? Now, if you want an extra challenge, you definitely try hands together. It's pretty remarkable. I'll just play it real quick for you. Yes, just keep that practice up, okay? Now I want you to turn the page again. Turn to page 103. 103. You're going to get joy to the world today. And I'm very excited because it's actually very timely since this is very close to the holiday season here in the United States. So we get a brand new song and a new dynamic sign. Do you see that giant dynamic sign in the corner? It's called fortissimo. Can you say that? Fortissimo. You feel it sound all fancy, right? Zoe, that's very loud, okay? It's much louder than a forte, okay? So keep that in mind as you're going through this piece, all right? Now let's analyze the song before we start. If you got a pencil, it's a good idea to grab it right now. So I have mine. I notice that the left hand is beginning this piece. It's in 4/4 time, and I'm starting forte. Now, I notice a pattern here. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks like one of those major scales that we just learned, right? It does. Okay, so I'm gonna like put some brackets around it because that's reminding me that that's a major scale. And then I notice that the right hand is actually coming in that second to the last measure of line 1. I see that that note there that's coming in is a finger 1 on G. So our right hand is going to be in a different position than the left hand. So I'm going to write a G above that and circle it. Okay? I notice I see our first fortissimo in line 2. Okay? And it's got this giant crescendo leading up to it. I'm going to circle it, and it's got a fermata and pedal. Oof, there's a lot of stuff going on here, huh? Now, then we come back with a finger 5. That looks like a C again. So I'm going to write a C there with the right hand. And then the left hand comes back at the end of line 2. And it's kind of beginning to do that scale pattern again, okay? So that's a finger 1, and I'm going to write a C there. I see some block chords in the third line. You see the left hand third line. I see some block chords and some pedal. They look like 1 chords and then a V7. Yeah, okay, I see some 8th notes in the right hand. And the right hand, it looks like when it comes back on line 3, it's shifted again to another position. This is now a regular C position. I know this because it's on 3 on the very first line of the treble staff. That first line is in E. So that's already telling me that that's going to be in C position. Okay? In the last line, I see sort of like this really giant jump. Do you see that? Look at that second measure of the last line. And there's a giant octave jump. That goes from C all the way to a high C, right? There's a skip right there. C going down to A. So I'm going to mark that too. I don't want to miss that. And then there's just some scattered pedal throughout. Very good. We've done a good job marking our music for today, so that's always helpful. Now, let's see if we can start learning this piece. We'll play through it, but let's just start with the left hand, okay? I like to start with the left hand on this song because the melody's in the left hand to start, so we gotta really get that melody out so we know how it sounds. Let's switch to piano view. All right, so piano view. We have our left hand finger 1 on C, middle C, okay? Now I'm going to play through Joy to the World, the whole song, left hand only, and I'm going to say my note names and chord names, okay? Keep up with me as best as you can. 1, 2, ready, play. C, rest. 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 V7. 2, 3. Rest. V7. Rest. 1 chord. 2, 3. F, G, hold. V7, hold. 1 chord. Did you hear me get a little mixed up? I totally got a little mixed up. I think my counting was off a little bit too. That's okay. I'm going to play it again so that way we get this just right. All right. I don't want to leave you hanging. All right. Yes, at the end of line 2, I'm going to circle that measure. That last measure of line 2. I missed the finger switch between the 2 and the 3 and then back to the 1. All right, so the 1 underneath is what I skipped. Yes, and I ended up on the wrong finger, so I ran out of fingers. All right, let's try Joy to the World, left hand only again. And let's see if I can actually play all the notes right this time. All right, here we go. Starting on a middle C, I'm going to count off. 1, 2, ready, play. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, rest. F, second, third, rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. C, B, A, G, G, F, E, rest. 1 chord. Rest. B7 chord. Rest. Rest. F, G, B7, 1 chord. There it is. That was a lot better. Yeah, that was like way better. I feel more confident about that. But again, of course, it's like the more you play it, the better you get at it. So of course I'm going to make mistakes sometimes. It happens. I'm only human, right? You'll forgive me, right? All right. Well, we got to learn the right hand. Yes. I think today's lesson might be a little extra long because we have to really learn this right hand. So it might be pushing closer to like 35 or even 40 minutes long. So lucky you. All right, so let's try the right hand this time, okay? I'll switch back to piano view. And remember, the right hand begins in a G position. All right, let's give it a try. All right. So putting my right hand in G position, I'm way over here now, okay? And we have like a ton of rests at the beginning of this piece, right? So I'm just going to count off as if we already played that left-hand line, okay? Let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, play. G, A, A, B, C. Good. Now we're going to put that pinky on the C. C, C, B, A, G, G, F, E. Rest, 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 rest. E, 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 F, G, F, E, D, 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 E, F, E, D, C, stretch up to C, A, G, F, E, F, E, D, C. Excellent, yeah. So definitely that last line is really tricky with those finger switches and stuff like that. It doesn't help that it's also got a big octave too. So that might be a really good spot to drill. I'm going to put some brackets around it because I know it's hard. Okay. Now, let's see if we can play that right hand section of this whole piece once more. And then I'll play it for you one time all the way through the way it's supposed to sound, okay? That way you can try and work really hard to get there, okay? You can do this. You're doing an amazing job on this song. It's not easy. All right. So starting there in that right hand finger 1 G position, we're going to get started. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. put your pinky. C, C, B, A, G, G, F, E. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. E, B, 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 F, G, F, E, D, 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 E, F, E, D, C, C, A, G, F, E, F, E, D, C. Excellent job. Yeah, that's way better. Yeah, it's always funny. Like, the first time through is always like, yikes! But then the second time through, you're like, oh yeah, this is like ringing a bell. Like, it makes more sense, right? I like the second time through all the time. That's why I always love repeat signs, is because it's always like a second chance to get it right. So, that was Joy to the World, Hands Apart. Now I'm going to play it for you, hands together, okay? So you can hear how it goes, and you can follow along in your music. Circle those tricky spots, circle those really weird fingers when you have to do those jumps and things like that. It's all going to help you, okay? Let's give it a try. Hopefully it sounds pretty good. All right, let's see. So I've got my left hand thumb on that middle C again, and I'm going to start with my right hand thumb on that G in G position, okay? I'm not going to say anything or sing anything as we do it, so you can listen extra carefully, okay? Let's give this a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready, and go. Now. Pinky. Yeah, very good. You probably caught that I missed a couple of fingers in the last line. I tried to cover it up. That's the beauty of being a performer, is like sometimes you're like, ooh, I ran out of fingers, and you can just like sneakily slide the right one in there, right? Again, I already know that that last line is going to be the one that I'm going to have to drill and make sure that I get just perfect, okay? Awesome! Well, you guys did amazing, amazing work on Joy to the World, okay? I hope you enjoy learning this piece. If you need help, hop in the private group and just like say, oh my gosh, I need help on this last line. Or can you go over the fingers, or whatever help you need, you just ask, okay? Now, page 99, I mentioned, is really good theory on half steps and whole steps. And then I also want you to do page 101, okay? You're going to be writing your own major scales on there, okay? 2 pages of theory, okay? I think that's really good. Reminder, if you want to participate in the virtual winter recital, I have instructions for you. There's a registration form, there's a video submission form, and there are a very, very specific video instructions that need to be followed. The dates for submission are December 6th is the last day you can send me your video. And then the YouTube premiere of our recital will be on December 20th, okay? So please contact me if you want to be involved, if you want to participate, and I will send you all the information that you need, okay? And in December, we have 3 weeks of our holiday mini-series lessons where I'm going to teach you holiday-themed music, okay? So I have songs picked out, 3 different songs, and we're going to have a great time learning them. So you can join me for those lessons too, okay? All right, quick Patreon plug. Patreon. Join Patreon if you want to help me out, okay? I really appreciate every single person that makes the effort to join Patreon, because I know that you're ready to take your piano instruction and your commitment to the next level. So it's really great to have everybody on there. All right, awesome. Now, to end our lesson, a quote. Our music quote today comes from the Austrian singer and matriarch, Maria von Trapp. And this is what she says. Music acts like a magic key to which the most tightly closed heart opens. That's so true, right? Yeah, music has a way of softening and like just really helping us get in touch with who we are inside, right? Even if like, say you're just really angry or you know somebody who's just not feeling it, sometimes music is really the only way to reach them. And that's really cool. I'm just so happy that we're able to make our own music here at the piano, right? It's wonderful. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. It's been a blast. We've had a lot of fun these last 10 weeks. We get a lot of work done in my classes. You know that, right? And it's amazing, amazing to see the progress that you're making. I'm so glad you're here. I will see you all very soon, okay? Next week is a holiday week, and then we'll be back for the mini-series. And then we have our Christmas break and New Year's break, and I will be back in 2021, okay? Stick with me. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.